The globe Earth narrative is an elaborate deception perpetuated to distort humanity's understanding of the natural world and its place within it. To dismantle this lie and expose the truth, one must rely on an uncompromising examination of the laws of nature, fundamental principles of physics, and observable reality, all of which stand in direct contradiction to the heliocentric model. A critically thinking person, armed with unfiltered knowledge, will recognize that the globe Earth model collapses under scrutiny, unable to reconcile with the immutable truths of our physical world. First and foremost, the concept of Earth as a spinning sphere moving through a vacuum violates the second law of thermodynamics. This law dictates that in an isolated system, entropy always increases, and any pressurized gas will disperse into a vacuum unless contained. Earth's atmosphere, a pressurized system, supposedly exists adjacent to the infinite vacuum of space, yet no barrier or containment is acknowledged in the globe model. Gravity, the proposed explanation, cannot act as a container, as it is an unverified theory and a mathematical construct rather than a proven force. Gases do not behave as described by gravity in the real world. They expand freely to fill any available space, a principle that can be tested and observed without exception. Without a firm barrier, the atmosphere could not remain intact, proving that the Earth exists within an enclosed system rather than an open one exposed to an infinite vacuum. The concept of gravity itself is riddled with inconsistencies and unsupported claims. Gravity is said to be the force holding oceans to the surface of the globe, while simultaneously allowing butterflies to fly and clouds to float. Yet, it cannot be measured directly, nor has it ever been isolated as an independent force. Density and buoyancy, by contrast, provide a far more consistent and observable explanation for the behavior of matter. Objects rise or fall based on their relative density to the surrounding medium, a principle demonstrated countless times in nature and experiment. Gravity was introduced not because it is necessary to explain the natural world, but because it is necessary to maintain the heliocentric model. It is a theoretical patch for a flawed narrative, invented to justify the motion of celestial bodies in an imaginary universe, rather than a force inherent to reality. The alleged rotation of Earth at approximately 1,000 miles per hour at the equator is another impossibility that defies both observation and logic. If Earth were truly spinning at such a velocity, the effects would be immediately apparent. The atmosphere would not move in perfect synchronization with the surface, as claimed, but would create massive turbulence, making flight, weather systems, and basic living conditions impossible. The idea that the atmosphere rotates flawlessly with the Earth is an unsubstantiated claim that has no basis in the behavior of fluids or gases, which naturally move independently of their containers. Additionally, there is no empirical evidence of motion or rotation, as no experiment has ever demonstrated Earth's supposed spin. The Michelson-Morley experiment, among others, sought to detect this motion and failed, providing strong evidence that Earth is stationary. Water, one of the most stable and observable substances, also defies the globe model. Water always seeks its own level, filling containers with a flat surface, regardless of their size or shape. The idea that vast oceans curve around a spinning sphere contradicts the fundamental behavior of water as governed by fluid dynamics and surface tension. In all experiments, water adheres to the principles of levelness, not curvature. The existence of a curved horizon is a claim based solely on manipulated imagery and perspective, not observable reality. When examined carefully, the horizon remains flat and level, extending indefinitely without the downward curvature required by the globe model. The space narrative is a central pillar of the globe Earth deception, yet it too fails when examined critically. The vacuum of space, as described, cannot exist adjacent to Earth's atmosphere, as previously explained. Rocket propulsion in space also violates Newton's third law of motion, as there is no medium for exhaust gases to push against in a vacuum. Rockets cannot generate thrust in such an environment, rendering the very concept of space travel implausible. Furthermore, the temperatures in space, ranging from extreme heat to extreme cold, would destroy any known materials, including those allegedly used in spacecraft. The International Space Station and moon landings are rife with inconsistencies, from the use of obvious harnesses and green screens in videos to the absence of stars in photographs, and shadows behaving inconsistently with light sources. These errors expose the fabricated nature of space exploration and the deliberate effort to maintain the illusion. The behavior of light also disproves the heliocentric model. The inverse square law dictates that light diminishes in intensity exponentially over distance. If stars were trillions of miles away, as claimed, their light would be imperceptible to the human eye. The constancy of star patterns throughout history further contradicts the idea of a dynamic, ever expanding universe. In the globe model, Earth is supposedly spinning, orbiting the Sun, and moving through the galaxy at incredible speeds, yet the stars remain fixed and unchanging in their positions. This observation is far more consistent with a stationary, enclosed system than with a chaotic, infinite cosmos. The suppression of alternative models and evidence for a flat, stationary Earth is deliberate and systematic. Ancient cultures around the world consistently described Earth as flat, stationary, and enclosed by a firmament. These models were dismissed and ridiculed not because they were unscientific, but because they challenged the centralized power structures that emerged during the Enlightenment. The globe model was adopted and promoted as part of a broader effort to disconnect humanity from its natural understanding of reality. By creating a sense of insignificance in an infinite, meaningless universe, these power structures reinforced their control over education, religion, and science, turning them into tools of manipulation rather than truth. In summary, the globe Earth narrative and its associated space fantasy are elaborate deceptions that violate the fundamental laws of nature, observable reality, and the principles of logic. These lies serve to obscure humanity's true place within an enclosed, designed system, reinforcing a false sense of insignificance while extracting resources and maintaining control. A critically thinking person who seeks truth above all else will recognize the flaws in the globe model and understand that our world is far different from what we have been told. To accept the truth is not only to reject the lies, but also to reclaim humanity's rightful understanding of the world and its profound significance.